All right, good everyone, and welcome to the financial intelligence section of 3HW Academy. And today we are here in the oil city of Warri, Delta State, Nigeria. I'll be making the presentation right from here. And today I will be talking about uh, cash flow with blockchain technology. And I would like you to pay attention as I go through the training and the teaching today. While you join us, make sure your mic is muted and listen. And at the end, you will be able to ask your question. So once again, I am Coach Donatek, and I am the ambassador of Magnum Meta. And right now in Nigeria, I represent Magnum Meta. So let me share my screen quickly so that I can take you through what we have today.
Mr.
Yeah, I do.
Good morning.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
I agree to you.
While you join us, kindly mute yourself. Make sure you're muted while you join us in the meeting. Now, once again, today, we are looking at something very important. And I'm talking about cash flow with blockchain technology. Now, and I will focus on Web3, Validator, and Deligator. That is where I'll be focusing on today. I'll be focusing on Web3, Validator, and Deligator. Now, let me move. Looking at the screen, you want to understand what is cash flow. Cash flow. Now, cash flow is the movement of money into and out of a company over a certain period of time. Now, if the company inflow of cash, that we're actually talking about cash here, exceeds its outflow, then the net, let me move this thing a little. Now, the net inflow, its net cash flow is positive. But on the other hand, if the outflow exceeds the inflow, then its net become.
I saw
now, it. Oh, a minute. Now, the major challenge that we have in this part of the world is that most of the time, our cash flow is always on the negative. So many of us, your cash flow is always on the negative. But what we are looking at today is how you can utilize blockchain to create a cash flow system. And your net will always be on the positive. Because if you always have to spend, which means your net is on the positive. But if you don't design a system that will enable you create this cash flow, then it will be very difficult for you to have a positive net flow. Because your cash flow determines the kind of lifestyle you are actually going to live. Now, we are not looking at blockchain on its own, because we are talking about how you can create this cash flow. Having known the meaning of cash flow and how many of us have not actually created a system that will keep a consistent cash flow. You know, these days you discover that people go to loan apps to borrow money with a high interest rate. People calling, you call this one, I need money. You call this one, I need money. You begin to make all kinds of calls in order to be able to get money to do one or two things or to meet up with your need, even sometimes to feed. Now, most of the time, it is because the person have not created a cash flow. Now, you can create cash flow with different forms of businesses. But today, I'm linking cash flow, the way money comes to your pocket and goes out, how you can utilize blockchain in order to create this cash flow. Now, what is blockchain? Blockchain is not just about crypto trading. You know, whenever we mention blockchain, a lot of persons will be thinking it is all about crypto trading. Yes, we use blockchain. The secret behind blockchain, or one of the basic things in blockchain, is crypto trading. But it is about the new ways to create consistent cash flow. That is the way I want you to look at blockchain. Look at blockchain as a new system that can help you to create a consistent cash flow in such a way. You need $10, you need $20. There's always a place to get from. There's always a place. There's always a reserve. And that is what we are looking at today. Like this section, we will explore Web3, we will explore Validator, and we explore Deligators, the door that they have opened to decentralized income opportunity. Now, your income. There is a special decentralized income opportunity in the whole of this technology, because we're talking about disruptive technology. These technologies we're talking about today, they are disruptive technology, and you need to take note of them, and you can utilize what they are giving to us today to create this cash flow system utilizing this blockchain. Now, this reminds me of a story in the Bible. To those of us who are good Bible students, you will understand that in the Bible, in Genesis chapter 41, there was a problem. Now, it was supposed to be a problem of a future cash flow. Pharaoh has dreamed a dream, and the dream is actually talking about the season of abundance and the season of want. Now, what you do with the season of abundance will determine what will happen in the future. The future you have been thinking about, your future is today. There is no future. Maybe you are talking about tomorrow. That tomorrow we have been talking about is today. So, what the decision you will be making today will actually determine if you will have a consistent cash flow, or you live just like the way you've been living before now. Now, let's dive straight into it. We're talking about Web3. Remember how we are linking it? We are creating a consistent cash flow utilizing blockchain technology. I've explained to you cash flow. A lot are broke because there's no cash flow. There's no system. It's a flow. There must be a system. As it is coming in, it is going out, and as it is going out, another one is coming in. It becomes a cash flow. That is the solution that blockchain is bringing to us. Now, again, I've explained to you because I said we will be utilizing Web3, Validator, and Deligator. Now, I've explained to you blockchain. I'm now in Web3. Web3. You have been hearing Web3. Maybe sometime when we're talking about Magnum Meta, we are talking about the future of Web3, the future of learning, utilizing Web3 technology. Maybe sometime when we're talking about Web3, we are talking about the metaverse. We are talking about maybe the three branches of the metaverse, when we are talking about the virtual reality, the augmented reality, and the mixed reality. Now, we want to break down this technology or make it more easier for you to understand. What is Web3? Short form of Web 3.0. Now, is the next evolution of the internet. Simple. Web 3 is the next disruptive evolution of the internet. Now, it is designed to make the web decentralized. Get the picture and the main objective of Web 3. So that whenever we are talking about Web 3, you should be able to understand what are we actually talking about. Now, it will make web decentralized. User-owned. User-owned. You are a user, but you are the owner of the web that you are using. And trustless. You know, one of the CEO of Magnum Meta most of the time talks about that we have created a trustless system. You will not understand until we get into the main era of Web3. You will discover that this is a trustless technology, a technology you can trust, a technology you can trust, a trustless technology, meaning you don't have to depend on a single company or authority. You don't have to depend on Google. You don't have to depend on Facebook. You don't have to depend on bank to interact or store data. You don't have to depend on them. You will own it your own self. That is the Web3. And today, I want to make it clear to you so that when we are talking about, sometimes when we are talking about what we have created and designed in Magnum Metal, so that we understand the confidence and the boldness that we have with the technology that we are developing. Now, it is powered by blockchain technology, this Web3, smart contracts, and cryptographic system, giving users ownership and control over their data, identity, and digital asset. That is what Web3 is made to solve for you. I want you to understand this. Most of the time when I teach people, I will tell them, what you need is a shift in your perspective, in your view, a shift. Because this shift will create a shift in your ideology. And of course, once there's a shift in your ideology, what we follow is a movement from the limiting belief system to a superior belief system. And at this level, your frequency of vibration changes and you attract wealth, what I call wealth with dignity. So once you are in Web3, it is welcome to wealth with dignity. Now, I'm looking at how to, let me look at it clearly. Okay, how the web has evolved, how it has actually evolved from Web 1 to Web 2 to Web 3. Now, let's look at the generation of this web we are talking about. Now, the first one is Web 1. Web 1. That is between 1990s to early 2000s. That is Web 1. What is the description? Web 1 is read-only internet. Remember, in those days at the early stage, it is read-only internet. User could only view content. Creators create content. Users can only go there and view the content. They cannot make their own input. And examples of Web 1 are those static websites, in the early years of Yahoo News, the news site, and the rest of them. It was a static read-only content in those websites. Now, we have moved from Web 1, and of course, we have moved to Web 2. We have moved to Web 2, and what many of us are currently using is Web 2.0. Web 2.0. And it is actually, the generation is from 2004 up to present. Now, let's look at the description. Now, it is read and write internet. Users can create, share, and interact, but big companies control the platforms. Understand the difference. Here, you read, you write, you interact, you share, you do all that you want to do, but it is like a centralized system. Big companies control them. Example, Facebook. There are so many things you can't do today without Facebook. Example, YouTube. There are so many things you cannot do today without YouTube. Example, Instagram, Google. All these are big companies. They are in charge. They are in control. They control the content. They control everything inside. That is Web 2 for you. And that is where many are today. But here comes the giant coming with a green symbol. And as you see it, you discover that it's green. It is a symbol of a change, a powerful change in our age. I'm happy to be in this age. Very happy. Because most of the time when I teach people, I will tell them, in every age, there was an age where people will get what they actually want based on where they came from. They will tell you, where did you come from? Maybe which state are you from? Which local government? Maybe which crown? Where are you from? I'm from so. Now you're qualified. Take this. We've got another generation where people got what they wanted by whom they know. Whom do you know? You get what you want based on whom you know. But we are in a new generation. The generation called Gen Z. The generation of the Web3, where you will get what you want by what you know. The question is, are you ready to know? Are you ready to learn? Magnum Metal is a learning platform. We value learning. Are you ready to learn? Because Somebody once said that the illiterate of this century or the future century, which is where we are now, are not going to be people who cannot read and write. No, they are going to be the people who are not ready to learn, to unlearn, and relearn. But if you are ready to unlearn, learn, and relearn, then you are among the literate of the 21st century. Now, let's look at the new generation emerging. Emerging. It is read, write, own internet. Read, write, and own. You know, when we talk about one of our slogans, we say that you learn, you earn, and you own. You don't understand. But let me make it more clearer to you of what Web3 is bringing to us. Now, in Web3, you read, you write, then you own the internet yourself. That reminds me of one of our technology called the DEPIN, the Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network. Now, this technology is new and it is being powered by Web3. The internet will be decentralized. And you can surf without your usual or your regular service providers. You may not understand, but it is a golden age. Now, the description. Users own their data. Users, you own your data. You own your asset and online identity through decentralized network. That is Web3 for you. So I want you to pay close attention to Web3 because it is emerging. It is emerging. It is coming up already. Now, examples are blockchain. You can see what blockchain is doing. If you don't understand how Web3 will work, study blockchain. You can see what the NFT, the non-fungible tokens, how people are creating wealth with non-fungible tokens. You can see the DAOs, that is the decentralized autonomous organizations. Now, it is the future, organizations decentralized. Now, you can also see the decentralized dApps, the dApps, that you can surf the internet with the dApps. Many people don't understand what the dApps, the work of the dApps in their platform, the decentralized platform. It is Web3 for you. That is Web3 for you. They are fully decentralized. Now, let's look at core features of this Web3. Number one is decentralization. Decentralization. Data is stored across many computers. That is nodes. Instead of one central server. No single company owns or controls your information anymore. As we speak in Web2, single companies own and control your information. And that is why when we are talking about the beauty of Magnum Meta 3.0, you'll be wondering, why did we move from Magnum Meta 2.0 to Magnum Meta 3.0? It is because of the beauty of Web3. Now, if you look at no single company own or control your information, blockchain technology, you look at it as secure, transparent ledger that control all transactions publicly and immutable. You can't change them. You can't manipulate this technology. That is the core feature because this Web3 uses blockchain technology. Again, it uses smart contracts. Smart contracts. That is self-executing digital agreements. They run automatically when conditions are met. They run automatically when conditions are met and without you needing intermediaries. Without you needing intermediaries. Now, again, one of the features again of Web3 is tokenization. That is value. Your value is tokenized. You don't need to struggle for money. You attract it. You attract money. Now, I was in a school today and I was teaching these young people because we have made up our mind to make impact in the life of people. I was with some young people in a secondary school today. I was telling them how they can actually attract God's blessing. Today, this morning, how they can attract God's blessing. And I was able to put them through and how you can live your life and attract instead of struggling for. Because look at success, to be honest to you. Success is what you attract based on whom you have become. You attract it. It is based on your level of vibration. You don't struggle for it. So all you need to do, most time when I teach, I'll say, we are human beings. Try to become. You become by learning. Now, value. Now, talking about money, your art, your properties, your reputation can be represented as digital token. Tradable and traceable. They are all tradable and traceable. Now, another feature of Web3 is user ownership. You control your identity. You control your identity using digital wallets, and also you own your digital asset directly. Now, that reminds me of one of the technology again that we are bringing in Magnum Meta, and that is the Mag tab, where you will have your personalized digital asset wallet in your own tablet. In your own tablet. And when you own a tablet that on its own, it is an asset. How do you see that? You are not just messing around with a smartphone, but this tablet is actually an asset to you because it will giving you money. Now, let's look at why Web3 is a disruptive technology. Why is Web3 a disruptive technology? Number one, Web3 challenges the traditional power structure of the internet, finance, and even government system. Here are the traditional Web2 and Web3 disruption. Centralized. In the centralized system, but here controlled by companies. But when we look at decentralized, it is owned by users. In the centralized system, control is by companies, by this centralized system. But in Web3, it is owned, control is owned by users. Now, let's look at data monetized by corporations. The data are monetized by corporations. But in Web3, users own and can monetize their data. You do with your data whatsoever you want. Now, let's also look at the normal centralized system, that is the Web2. Payment go through banks. Payment go through bank. But when you look at what the Web3 is doing, it is pay-to-pay payment system via crypto platform. They decide who get access to who get access. Then again, you look at the normal Web2, it is open source. But when you look at this Web3, I mean the Web3 is permissionless system. Permissionless system. You don't need the permission of anyone. Now, when you look at Web2, the developers rely on intermediaries. But in Web3, the apps runs directly on blockchain. You can go to MarkTab from the decentralized. You can access any decentralized exchange here, and from there you can do any business you want to do with blockchain and various Web3 platforms. Now, let's look at this. What is cash flow in Web3? Because that is all we are talking about. What is cash flow in Web3? Now, cash flow in Web3 represents the movement of value tokens, rewards, or transaction fees. The way this cash flow, that is the movement of value, tokens, reward, or transaction fee within blockchain ecosystem is a cash flow. That you can be able to build a cash flow, and you discover that you are getting tokens, you are getting rewards, you are getting transaction fees, and they just flow into your wallet. Unlike the traditional finance, Web3 cash flow is powered by staking, validating, and delegating system. Now, I want to take you through another journey. Let me see how time will permit me to take you through this journey of talking about who is a validator, who is a validator, or what is validator, and how can you earn through this validating or delegating. Now, validators are the backbone of blockchain. Take note, validators are the backbone of blockchain network. They verify transaction, secure the network, and earn reward. They require technical setup and is taking deposits. Period. They are the backbone of this blockchain network. Now, if I were you, if this is the backbone of blockchain technology, they need to pay attention to understand how to be a validator. Now, let's look at Deligator. Now, Deligators support validators by staking their token with them. In return, they earn a share of the validator's reward, a passive income model with lower entry barriers. Now, the difference between a validator and a delegator is the validator deals with the ecosystem directly, while the delegator also deals with the ecosystem, but it follows through a validator, that is the delegator. Now, in a complex platforms, I will encourage people to study and learn more on how to be a delegator because of some of the physical equipment you might be needing in order to be a validator, and maybe because of the uptime. And over here in this part of the world, we don't really have a standard internet network to be able to actually accomplish to be a validator successful on complex systems. Now, let's look at how money flows when you're a validator. Number one, user stakes token. In all validator platform, it is staking. And when you stake this token, capital outflow. Now, the network generates rewards. Money, first of all, comes from your pocket. It's a capital outflow because we're talking about inflow utilizing this blockchain technology. Now, understand me, when this money flows out of your pocket, it is not a loss. It will actually become your net worth digital asset. It's just like what Joseph cancels Pharaoh. He said, take part of your harvests in this period of bountiful harvest. Go and store them. It is an outflow from what you are generating. It's an outflow. Now, there will come a time that this outflow will begin to generate inflow. And Pharaoh did that. There came to the time of the famine that all over the world, people were coming, they were bringing inflow. There was a lot of inflow into Egypt because of the counsel of one man, a man filled with wisdom. Now, you will need to understand, Joseph was thinking in decades, while some of the retailers, the harvesters at that time, they were thinking in days, or everything that we are getting, they were selling. Joseph was absorbing them. Now, this is exactly what institutions are doing today. While the retailers are selling their Bitcoin, institutions have been absorbing them. Now, we have gotten to the era that institutions, retailers, individuals are now struggling to have a share from Bitcoin. Because it got to that time, after some time, you discover that Joseph, Egypt, they now started selling. People started selling their land. Say, take our land and give us food. There was now an inflow into what they were doing at that time. Now, validators, don't mind me, validators takes a commission. Delegator receive net reward. This creates a decentralized recurring income cycle. What I'm talking about is a decentralized recurring income cycle. That is what we have created. You can check out the Magnum Meta Yield Farming. You can check out what they have created, a 5 years validator system that will give you a decentralized recurring income cycle. You will never run out of cash again. I tell you the truth. Understanding is a miracle. Once there is a shift in your perception, what follows is a shift in your philosophy. You will immediately adopt the philosophy of the rich, and you will become rich if you can adopt this philosophy of the rich. Now, let me try to summarize. Look at example. A delegator, for instance, a delegator stakes 10,000 tokens. I'm actually looking at this example utilizing this cash flow calculator. Now, at 8%, this is something about Solana. At 8% per annual reward, a validator commission is about 10%. Gross reward is 800 tokens. Net reward after commission is 720 tokens. The net yield is 7.2% per year. You may not understand it better, but let me see how to break it down more better. Let's look at real network example. For instance, Solana. A validator earns up to 8% APY in Solana. But in Cosmos blockchain, delegators can earn 10 to 15% APY. Then in Ethereum, validators earn around 4 to 6% APY after the merge. Now, but look at it in mForge. A validator earns around 35 to 55% APR with 10% revenue share of company's global sales for 5 years. If you are happy with this validator system, I want you to get me to the chat box and give me 777. This is the ground floor of where you can actually participate in a new technology and be among those. Now, reward depends on performance, uptime, and token price. Now, let's look at risk and realities. Token price are volatile. Now, slashing risk for validators. Now, there are some risk of validators. The way that their reward can be slashed. That is why you need to learn in order to be able to earn more. The more you learn, the more you earn. Now, lockup or bonding period. That is another risk. Then validator performance. Now, understanding these help manage financial risk while earning passive income through this cash flow. Now, let's look at building a blockchain cash flow mindset. Think long term. That is my advice. Think long term. Compound your reward. Reinvest your earning. Shift focus from speculative token, to sustainable yield through knowledge, patience, and discipline. In blockchain technology or creating this work with dignity, you must think in decades, not in days. You must have the mindset of the rich. And the mindset of the rich invest before they spend. But the poor will spend before they invest. You must choose the path to belong. Once again, in conclusion, Web3 opened the new streams of decentralized cash flow. That is what Web3 has come to do for us. Why validators and delegators are vital for earning reward. Financial intelligence means managing risk, compounding rewards, and staying consistent. The future of cash flow is digital, decentralized, and in your hands. The future of cash flow is digital, decentralized, and in your hands. Once again, I want to say thank you for listening to me. I'm Coach Eli Donatus. I'm the ambassador of Magnum Meta. And I want to appreciate you. I'm going to stop here, and I'll be taking questions from anywhere. You can connect with us and you can ask us questions. This video will be uploaded so that you can take your time, go over it again, and you can also go to the comment section after going over it on the YouTube channel. You can drop your questions about what we are talking about. So thank you, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask your question.